You know, it's funny when you're a little kid. You don't have any beliefs. You don't have any traditions, except what you learned from your parents. Do you remember on the school bus, you'd be arguing with other little kids about politics? And in all honesty, little kids don't know anything about politics, but your parents couldn't be wrong. Let's face it, you learn your first beliefs from your parents. This goes as far as religion, politics, family traditions, and any other family who believed differently, well, they were wrong. It was years as you grew up and you started thinking on your own and weighing things. Now, you still don't know a whole lot, but you start to make decisions for yourself. My family were hardcore Democrats. I don't know if they are now. I hope they're not. I was the first person in my family that ever voted Republican. And that started an argument with my father and my brothers. And I was sticking to my guns on that. But they're arguing. And I stuck to my guns, kept my point, and says, no, I am voting Republican. I do not like the Democratic Party. Well, I found out years later that my argument must have stuck hold with my mother because she switched her vote that election. Anyways, guys, what I want to touch on today, let's get to it. How you doing, guys? Anybody that knows me knows I can be a stubborn son of a bitch. Although stubborn, I'm very open-minded to new ideas. My beliefs are primarily the same as they were, say, 20 years ago, although with age comes experience and they've been somewhat tweaked. I have never been that close-minded to admit that I may have been wrong on something. And it's unfortunate how many people I know that have age on them that are still that close-minded and living with blinders on and not seeing what's going on. And it's kind of like, I really feel sorry for them. If they choose to live life like that, there's nothing I can do about it. I don't argue like I once did, because I'm like, if somebody's like this, there's no way you can open their eyes. This is how I felt at the Kingdom Hall. Now, when I first started going there, I had no idea that it was culty as it was. See, when you're studying, they don't tell you everything. Matter of fact, they don't tell you anything. It's progressive. You learn progressively. And until you're baptized, that's when the bear trap closes. And this is when you find out everything. See, I was under the impression, okay, I'm studying to be a Jehovah's Witness, but I still live my own life. And I didn't realize until after I was dunked that I had sold my life to them. They now own me. And most of my life was primarily kept in secret. I was living a double life. Let's face it, many of us did. And it felt kind of childish. I shouldn't have to do this at my age. But that's the way it was. Now, as the years went by, I started questioning a lot of what I was hearing at the Kingdom Hall. And yet I'm looking around at people again. They're living with blinders on. The ones I felt sorry for were the younger people, as they grew up with this. And basically, let's face it, we all know that they are forced like anybody else, because if a little kid decides, I don't want to be one of Jehovah's Witnesses. See, they encourage them to get baptized. They coerce them. They force them. They blackmail them to get baptized. And many of them get baptized not believing a thing they have heard. And why? Because they don't want to lose their family. And of course, you have many that continue to believe it. And most of their grown-up counterparts believe it. And they live like this. They won't change their mind. Even if you point the most logical points out to them, they don't want to see it. Many of them do, but again, they don't want to lose their family. They don't want to lose their friends. They live out of fear. Yet, their opinions, their traditions, their beliefs, in all honesty, are not their beliefs. Like little children, their beliefs come from someone else. Their beliefs come from Warwick. Their beliefs come from the governing body. Whatever they believe, the JWs believe. And that's not the way the real world works. Yes, on occasion, somebody may be wrong. When you were a little kid, you believed what your parents believed. That's just the way it was. As you got older and you gained a little bit of experience, a little bit wiser, you realize that your parents may have been wrong on some things. I'm not saying you weren't, because we've all been wrong on some things, but then you started questioning. And there was never a problem with questioning. There is in the land of Jehovah's Witnesses, because you can't question anything. Even the most logical point you cannot bring up. You have to live like this with blinders on and believe whatever you're told. Now, in the past, I've spoken about core beliefs. Everybody has them. But at the Kingdom Hall, when you're a Jehovah's Witness, every time there's new light, you're expected to change your beliefs like that. And that's not the way the real world works. The thing is, there's so much new light that many JWs are snapping to. And they're thinking, no, I don't believe this. And they're starting to think for their own. Many have left. Many are physically in, mentally out. Would like to get out, but they really can't. You will when the time is right. Unfortunately, there are still so many that are stuck in this cult. I was awake for many years. Shortly after I got baptized, that was my descent out of the organization. This is when I started waking up little by little by little. But the thing is, once you're dunked, you're stuck. My Bible instructor made some comments to me, and he was the red flag that I should have paid attention to. I don't think I was studying maybe a month, and he said to me, when I'm studying with somebody and they decide they don't want to go along with the beliefs of the Jehovah's Witnesses, I don't have much use for them afterwards. Now, he was assuming that he was a friend, my friend, that I had no other friends, and if he pulled away from me, I'd be lost, which was not the case. See, I always kept my outside life, never got rid of it. And if he decided not to talk to me, I was okay with that. But he was a major red flag because this guy epitomized Watchtower. And the thing was, at the time, I just wasn't seeing it. And I get little bits and pieces. I didn't realize what a control freak he was. And I didn't realize that he had learned all this from Watchtower. Well, after I was baptized, we kind of got a little distance, which is fine, because he annoyed the ever-living hell out of me. He was also the first one I tried to wake up. Now, little by little as time went on, I'm learning more and more about the organization. At first, I'm questioning what I'm hearing. I need something solid. Well, I got something solid. And I found out that the child abuse problem was a lot worse than I had originally heard, among some other things. Now, with their changing lights so often, that was like snap to. No, you cannot change Bible beliefs at a drop of a hat. JWs do. Well, where I was out in service with my Bible instructor, and I figured, time's up. I got to drop a few bombs. Now, at the time, I was keeping everything to myself. Well, they suspected something was up, but they didn't know what I knew. Well, I'm out in service with my Bible instructor, former Bible instructor, and I started dropping some bombs that I knew about the child abuse problem. He didn't respond to that, but it was the last time we'd gone out in service. Do you remember the bunker video several years ago? Actually, it was about 6-7 years ago now. Well, I had downloaded it. Now, this is before they had even seen it. And I sent it to him. Well, he got angry. And he says to me, "You got that from an apostate website. I deleted it. Don't contact me again." Which is fine. Don't contact me, and I won't contact you. Unfortunately, that's not the way it worked out, because he haunted me left and right. It's funny when a Jehovah's Witnesses uses the word apostate. They always have to add some anger to it. You're an apostate. Well, he was convinced I was now an apostate. Well, I told him, I says, well, that video you will be seeing at your next convention. Didn't matter. He didn't want to see it. Because it came from me, it was apostate. When he saw it from them, it wasn't. Well, that was the beginning of the end for me. They started looking for anything to get rid of me, which was fine. Well, I am now out. I never knew whether or not he ever woke up. Probably not. Because this guy is a hardcore JW. He will put blinders on no matter what you point out to him. And unfortunately, there's so many Jehovah's Witnesses that will not grow. They will believe what they're told to believe. They're like children their entire lives. And it's like, people, you're grown-ass adults. Think for yourselves. I had uploaded one of Selena's videos several months ago. And I just got a comment on it several days ago that said, "You're lying. Prove what you say." Well, that was funny. Now her video, she made some accusations, yet there was no proof in that video. It's funny though, this JW wanted proof from her about her accusations, but they don't ask proof from their governing body. They just accept it as truth. Okay, don't they still need to prove what they're saying? They still can't prove who they are, who they say they are. Yet JWs believe who they say they are. And that is ludicrous. Jehovah's Witnesses, grow up. Use your brain. When you go into a kingdom hall, you don't need your brain because they think for you. Well, what is the purpose of having a brain if you're not going to use it? Anyways, guys, that's all I really had for you today. I'd love to hear your thoughts. You all have a good day, and I'll be talking to you soon.